Speak up, Las Vegas Raiders family. Today we're going to dissect everything that happened in the most recent practices, with updates on Aidan O'Connell, the impact of the running game with Sincere McCormick, and the behind-the-scenes moves that added a lightning WR to the roster. Stay tuned, because we'll explore every detail that could impact this final stretch of the season. Let's do it. Our starting QB, Aidan O'Connell, worried fans when he didn't participate in the Raiders' most recent practice. Initially, there was much speculation about the reason for his absence, but the team confirmed that the reason was illness. It's not an injury or anything that could jeopardize his season, but the question remains, will he be 100% for the next game? While the situation has RaiderNation on edge, he is expected to be available Sunday to face the Vikings. The illness may have been a minor scare, but missing a key practice raises questions about how it will impact team chemistry. O'Connell needs to be in shape to keep up the offensive momentum we saw against the Chiefs. If for some reason O'Connell is unable to play, that leaves room for backup Desmond Ritter to step in. And this is where things get interesting, because Ritter will have a unique opportunity to prove himself. Are we ready to trust the offense to the backup? We'll explore that in the next section. With Aidan O'Connell out of practice, Desmond Ritter took over the main snaps. He is still adapting to the system, but showed some confidence in leading today's activities. If O'Connell doesn't recover in time, Ritter will have the responsibility of leading the offense against the Vikings, a great opportunity for him to show that he deserves to remain on the roster. Ritter has a different style of play than O'Connell, which could force offensive coordinator Scott Turner to adjust the playbook to maximize the backup's performance. Despite that, his chemistry with the receivers remains a question mark. Practices aren't enough to replicate the intensity of a game, and that's where we could see challenges if he has to take the field. On the other hand, this uncertainty is an opportunity for the coaching staff to test how prepared Ritter is. If he can execute plays well and keep the offense productive, he could gain more confidence from the fans and coaches for the future. But is O'Connell's absence just a detail or a decisive factor in the offense's performance? Since Scott Turner took on a larger role running the offense, the Raiders' offensive output has improved dramatically. In the last 3 games, we've had more games with 300-plus total yards than we had in the entire first half of the season. It's clear that the change in philosophy and tweak scheme are paying off. In addition to the increase in yardage, another point that stands out is the efficiency of the plays. Against the Chiefs, we achieve an impressive 6.9 yards per play, which is a significant jump from the previous average of just over 4 yards. This shows how Turner has been able to maximize the potential of our players, especially O'Connell. But it's important to note that success doesn't just depend on the coach. The evolution of the offensive line and the emergence of new talent, such as Sincere McCormick, are also contributing. The question that remains is, can we sustain this performance until the end of the season? The answer may lie in our land game, which we'll talk about next. Finally promoted to the main roster, running back Sincere McCormick has been one of the bright spots on offense in recent weeks. After strong performances against the Broncos and Chiefs, he has proven that he could be a reliable piece in the running game. The promotion comes at a good time, especially with the recent injuries to the running back group. Our interim head coach Antonio Pierce has made it clear that McCormick will be used more moving forward. This is not only good news for the player, but also for the team, which has lacked consistency on the ground. He brings explosiveness and vision to the offense, something that was lacking in the previous rotation, especially with Josh Jacobs facing more aggressive defenses. However, it is still too early to crown McCormick as the future of the position. He needs to show consistency in different schemes, such as zone running, which can generate explosive plays. Still, his rise is cause for optimism. Can he maintain this level until the end of the season? With McCormick excelling and the offensive line showing progress, the Raiders' ground game came back to life. Over the last 2 games, we've averaged over 4.5 yards per attempt, something we haven't seen since the start of the season. This helped open up the playbook and make O'Connell's life easier. An interesting point is that success in the ground game has been a reflection of a more cohesive offensive line. Blocks are better synchronized, allowing runners to find spaces and maximize each run. This balance is essential, especially against defenses that pressure the QB, like the Vikings. The challenge now is to maintain this consistency. If we can combine the running game with the rising aerial attack, we can dream big in the final weeks of the season. But what about our new offensive reinforcement? Let's talk about that now. The Raiders moved the market and brought in wide receiver Shadur Jackson, nephew of the legendary Bo Jackson. In addition to his pedigree, he impresses with his speed. 4.31 seconds in the 40-yard dash test. The idea is for him to replace DJ Turner, who was used in deep plays and special moves in the offense. Jackson may not make an immediate impact, but his raw talent is undeniable. With his ability to stretch the field, he can open up spaces for other receivers, such as Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers, as well as forcing defenses to respect the long pass. This is something that can change the dynamics of the attack in decisive moments. Still, adapting to the system and earning Aidan O'Connell's or Desmond Ritter's trust will take time. In the meantime, his mere presence is a threat that can force adjustments in opposing defenses. Will he become a difference maker? Time will tell. With 3 accessible games on the schedule, against the Vikings, Saints, and Chargers, the Raiders have a real chance to finish the season strong. These teams, especially the Saints, have struggled with consistency and injuries, which leaves room for potential wins. The matchup against the Vikings will be a big test, especially with Kirk Cousins out of the lineup. If the Raiders' defense can get pressure on their backup QB, this game could fall into our hands. But for that to happen, the offense needs to stay sharp, as we saw against the Chiefs. The Raiders are just a few games away from finishing the season with pride. How they perform in the coming weeks will also be crucial in determining whether Aidan O'Connell is the future of the franchise. That's our next question. The young QB has shown flashes of talent, but can he be the long-term solution for the Raiders? Against the Chiefs, O'Connell showed calm under pressure and the ability to make accurate throws in critical moments. Still, we'll need more consistency in the coming weeks to be certain. If he continues to improve, it will allow the Raiders to focus their draft on other areas, such as defense or offensive line. However, if he stumbles, the team could be forced to look for a new QB in 2024. This final stretch will be a real test of the rookie's life. Regardless, O'Connell's development is a positive for the franchise. He's brought stability after a tumultuous few weeks, and the simple fact that we're discussing the future with him is a good sign. While McCormick is shining now, the question is, why wasn't he promoted sooner? He showed talent during training camp, but he remained on the practice squad until injuries forced him to the main roster. This raises questions about the judgment of the previous coaching staff. Now that he's on the roster, the opportunity is in his hands. If he continues to produce like he has in recent weeks, McCormick could cement himself as a key player for the Raiders' future. It also opens up the possibility of re-evaluating the entire running back group next offseason. Will McCormick continue to develop and become a mainstay of the offense? The answer will come in the coming games. With so many changes and uncertainties, the game against the Vikings promises to be exciting. Aidan O'Connell, if healthy, Sincere McCormick, and even Shadur Jackson could be the highlights of a crucial victory. The defense also needs to do its part, especially putting pressure on the opposing QB. If we can repeat the offensive performance of the last few weeks, we have everything we need to come away with a victory. It will be a golden opportunity to consolidate our attack and test out the new players. This final stretch could be the start of something special for 2024. Let's go together. Raider Nation, here's to another victory. The Raiders are showing signs of progress and have the right pieces to finish the season strong. Between O'Connell's recovery, McCormick's impact, and Jackson's speed, the team seems to finally find a direction. Now it's time to hope that all this potential translates into victories. Leave your comment. What do you expect from O'Connell, McCormick, and Jackson? Like, share, and subscribe to the channel to follow everything about the Raiders. Let's go together. Pirate flag.